guys, how you doing? Another episode of A Drummer's Guide 2. You must be sick of me by now, surely. Well, I hope not, but anyway. This week I'd like to cover a subject which is kind of sensitive. In fact, it's very sensitive, and every musician that I know hates talking about this, and that is money and what to charge. It's awful. Even me thinking about it now, it makes me cringe. I think it's such an awkward subject. Musicians are not made to talk about money, generally speaking. I don't think, at least. So I just wanted to talk about what you should be charging, or rather my headspace around what I've charged in the past and how I've worked out whether something is the right price for me, if that makes sense. It all sounds very cryptic, so let me just get into it and then you'll understand what I'm talking about, because yeah, sorry. Anyway, so I feel like there's been 3 stages for me in terms of charging for doing what I do, for drumming in various capacities. So I did a video a little while back, which hopefully I will link to in this one, about working for free. And I know that also is a very controversial subject, but for me, I'd say for the first 10 years that I played the drums, maybe a little bit less, but essentially for the first 10 years, I played for free a lot, if not exclusively. At least for the first 7 years, I definitely played for free exclusively. And I know that a lot of people would think that that's absolute madness and you should never play for free. That's fine. I absolutely understand your point of view and you are entitled to that. But to me, I saw it very differently. It was the time that I learnt, it was my experience, it was how I learnt my craft. So I was I guess I was paying for the pleasure because I was obviously getting to rehearsals and giving up my time and whatever, but it was kind of the thing that gave me a great foundation to then, when I did come into other situations, I was able to charge money. So it's kind of great. It was just, the long game. It was sowing the seeds. So I'd say, like I say, that was the first 7 to 10 years of my playing. I say 7 to 10 because maybe there was a 3-year overlap where there was a bit of both. And then I went into this period from about 2007, maybe 2006, where I basically got to the stage of thinking, okay, what do I need to live? What do I need to earn to live? And whenever I accepted a gig or didn't accept a gig or was in negotiations about what to charge, it wasn't necessarily about a price, because a lot of the time, the band or the artist or whatever has a budget and it's just, well, this is what we can pay you, do you accept that? And I very much got into that headspace of, okay, well, can I accept that? It's not about do I accept it, it's can I accept it? Does that money cover my rent? Does it cover, feeding myself for a month or whatever? And that became my sort of mantra, if you like. And I know that, people are funny about money, and obviously on gigs, people are paid differently. They are. That's just the way it is. But my whole thing was, I have to accept it for me. So someone may be getting paid double what I'm doing. The point is that I've accepted these terms on my own, because I have. It's my own. I've accepted them on my own terms, basically. Because I know that if I do this tour, or whatever it is, or this gig, or whatever, that I am covering my rent for X amount of time, and therefore can still be playing drums, and I get to play drums out on the road. And this was the same for covers bands. I knew that at one stage in my life, I needed to do 8 covers gigs a month to cover my rent and my food and all of that sort of stuff, and petrol and all the fun stuff. So that's what I did, and I made sure that I always had 8 covers gigs and I would be okay, and it meant I could carry on for another month. And it was just about that, because my whole life, my whole being has been a way to play the drums as much as I can. So as long as everything was covered, then it was kind of fine. Now, the most recent sort of years have been a really interesting one for me, because there's definitely been a shift. So I kind of have gone past I need to do X amount of things to cover my rent, to, okay, how do I actually want to be spending my time? And this has been quite I didn't see this one coming, this shift, but I've started sort of questioning, okay, well, how do I want to spend my time? Yes, I could do X amount of covers gigs or X amount of touring with whoever to cover my expenses in life. But okay, if I had the choice though, what would I want to do? And obviously now it's very different because I have my own studio, and that means that I have a slight amount of control over what I can be doing, and that means that I can be at home. So now it's more like, okay, a tour might come in and it might be like, right, let me actually look at whether I want to do this. And that is such a privileged position to be in. And like I say, it's very new to me. It's only been over the past sort of few years, but it's so amazing. You know, I might get a call to do a masterclass, for instance, and to me, that's pretty high up to go do that. And the money side of it is, it's not that it's irrelevant, but it kind of, I can subsidise that with my studio work, because I know that if I do X amount of studio work, everything's covered, but then I have this extra time that I can spend how I want. And that could be going and doing a masterclass. It could also be being at home and spending time with my family. Or it could be literally sitting on my butt playing PlayStation. It can be whatever I want it to be, but that's the point, is kind of you get a bit more choice. And that's a very privileged position that I'm in right now, and it may not last forever, and I'm not going to take it for granted. And I just, yeah, I think it's really great. So anyway, I have been rambling, and I'm not sure that it makes a lot of sense, but I think the bottom line for what to charge is, what do you need? What do you need to live? Make a list, make a budget. Every month I need to earn X amount of money. Okay, how am I going to do that realistically? How many gigs do I need to play? How many lessons do I need to teach? You know, how many tracks do I need to record? And sort of work from that point of view. And then look at what offers you're getting. Okay, well, how much am I willing to do that for? Like, for instance, I'll give you a really good example, and I won't name names, but I was asked to work with a particular artist, and they basically called me. It was very early days, and they said, look, we can offer you X amount. And it was a very low amount, like borderline kind of, yeah, it wasn't good. And I sort of like spoke to them, and I had a look at my diary, and it was for one tour. Well, at the time it was for one tour, looking for more, but I thought, right, if this is just one tour, just cancelling all the stuff that I already had in my diary, I would end up earning half of what I already had booked in. And I was like, well, that makes no sense to me right now. And the other thing is, obviously, if you've watched another video of mine, I can't remember where I speak about this, but my whole thing of making sure that you're reliable, and once I've booked in to do something, it takes exceptional circumstances for me to break my promise that I'm going to go do that gig or that tour or whatever. And to break that was not worth the money, that's for sure. It wasn't worth the artist, it wasn't worth the exposure, and therefore I was just like, yeah, this isn't going to work. It could work if X, Y, Z, and they said nah. And I was like, cool. And you have to be okay with letting stuff go if it's not right for you. But if you agree to do something for a certain amount and it works for you, great, go do it. Like, just, it's all about just, well, for me, facilitating being able to play more drums. So I hope that this has helped, and yeah, I do, and good luck with working out what you need for yourself. Everyone's different as well, and never judge people on what they're sort of earning or not earning, or, you know, everyone's in their own situation, they've got their own things to support that you're not going to know about. So yeah, just do what you need to do, basically. Okay, right, I'm going to be quiet now. I hope you guys are well, and if you have any other questions, stick them in the comments, or go to adrummersguide2.com and you can ask me on there. There's like an anonymous box if you feel slightly embarrassed about asking. But anyway, hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you again next week for another subject. Alright, see you later, bye!